depuis 4 mois, je suis papa. La petite, elle pleure, elle se plaint. She's a witch, she complains. Oh, c'est une Parisienne. French people like, ouais, Paul, ça fait 10 ans que t'es en France, tu te sens un peu plus français? No.
He's been sending up the French as an Englishman in Paris for a good few years now, and they love it. His YouTube videos have been viewed more than 20 million times. Hello to Paul Taylor.
Hello.
Hello there. Now, your show, British ou Presque, or British or Nearly, is on tour around France, starting here in Paris at the Grand Rex. It's half in English, half in French. It's about the clichés or differences between us and the French. So tell us more about it.
Yeah, well, it's funny. The videos are from like a year and a half ago, or 2 years ago when the show started, almost 2 years ago to the day. And then I started a tour. It got interrupted. You know, like everything got interrupted for 2 years. And so I've been doing some tour dates, and the big dates in Paris are next week. So it's exciting. It's more. This one is more 70% French, 30. In English. The more and more shows I do, the more and more English leaves the show. But is
the Grand Rex your biggest venue yet?
It will be, yeah, for my for the full show. Yeah, it's the biggest place that I will have performed. Yeah.
And your immense success shows that the French actually enjoy you taking the mick or making fun of them, which actually seems quite surprising to me.
Even the French people don't understand why. When I'm like, everyone's like, well, I don't understand why. I mean, this second show's a lot less me making fun of them, and it's more me making fun of myself. The first show was a lot of me making fun of the French, and this one's a bit more. I still come across as an idiot in France, and so here are some like personal stories of how that happens, of how me coming across as a bit of an idiot in France, being English. But yeah, it's I don't know why they like. I think they just like people talking about them. Whether it's good or bad.
And you talk a lot about false friends, faux amis, as we say in French, English words that the French use that have a completely different meaning in French. You also talk about swearing in French. And these videos always seem to go viral. What makes the audience laugh the most, do you think?
That's a really good question. I don't know. It depends. I think everyone laughs at different things, but it's something that, whether it was the mini series I had on Canal Plus that's on YouTube as well. Like I think those were very specifically. Each episode was on a specific topic about French life and what happens every day and the things that I didn't understand about it. So I think even French people, I picked also topics that French people also complain about. So I was complaining about it, but they were like, yeah, he's complaining, but he's kind of right as well.
Is there any subject that's off limits?
I don't think so, no. I mean, it depends. It depends how it's treated, you know. I don't talk a lot about politics because I don't know a lot about politics, but it's not an off-limit subject. It just depends how it's treated.
Okay, well, as you said, you made a brilliant series which was called What the Bleep? I'm not allowed to say the word France. Let's take a look.
False friends. French and English share a lot of words, and they don't necessarily mean the same thing. Like the first time I met my girlfriend's best friend, I said, "Hey, salut, je suis vraiment excité de te rencontrer. Laisse-moi m'introduire. Je m'appelle..." Bah, t'es pas sympathétique, toi?
Ah, je suis pathétique en plus. Tiens.
On another occasion, I missed a golden opportunity because I thought my girlfriend wanted me to do the housework with her and her friend when she said...
Et Paul, il fait un ménage à trois.
No. And I said no! What a dickhead!
I like that you're still laughing at your own stuff.
I haven't seen them in that's 5 years old, that video, so I haven't seen that series since because I hate watching myself. I think all artists hate listening or watching themselves. So I haven't seen those in like 4 or 5 years now.
No, they're still funny. You spent some of your childhood in France and Geneva. You studied French at university, so your French is amazing. But the French don't always praise you for it, do they?
No. Often the thing that happens to me, and I talked about this in my first stand-up show, was the fact that my French is too good almost for an English person. So I don't sound English. So when I speak and I sound French, I still make English people mistakes. You know, like basic things of like gender and all that kind of stuff. And so French people, they look at me and they kind of think, okay, what? They don't know what's going on. That's part of the time when I come across as an idiot, is like I sound more stupid than I am because I'm making these basic mistakes that French people don't make, but I sound French.
And one of the things you talk about a lot, or you have in the past, is the bees. The kiss that French people do when they greet each other. Has COVID killed the bees, though?
Half. It's killed it amongst people that don't know each other. But amongst
Done us
friends,
a favour, really, hasn't it?
yeah, a little bit. But it's still. I mean, it's still happening with people when people know each other really well. But if if you're at a house party and you're meeting new people, that people are just. It's made it more awkward, to be honest, because people don't know what to do. Handshake, do you fist or is it the elbow? Do you know what I mean? It depends. It's weird.
And you started performing this show before COVID, before Brexit.
Yeah.
Before Brexit was officially went through.
Yeah.
Have you tweaked it?
Not really, no. There's not really much. I mean, the stuff that's changed is the stuff about being a parent, because when I wrote the show and I started performing it, it was when my baby was born. She's now 2. So life has changed as a parent. So that part of the show has evolved. The rest of it, I don't mention the word COVID or Brexit in the show.
Which is probably quite lovely, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a lot of feedback. I get people, like, some people are like, oh, what, you're lazy, you haven't written any new jokes. And I'm like, 1, yes, but 2, I had a baby during COVID and that's complicated. But a lot of the people say it's cool because we spent an hour and a half. We're so bombarded with COVID over the past 2 years and still today that they spend an hour and a half and they don't hear the word.
Which is a joy, really. And you started your career doing stand-up in the UK?
I mean, that was before it was a career, yeah. I did like 8 gigs in London before I moved over to France.
How does it compare?
I can't even... it's difficult to compare because when you start out in comedy, wherever you are, you're dying on stage and no one's laughing and you're in front of 5 people. So that aspect was the same in France and England. Now... thankfully, I perform in front of a decent sized audience, and it's a lot of fun. There's still times where I do a certain joke, a new one, and it doesn't work. But yeah, it's just part of the thing. I'd say it was a similar experience in both countries. Okay,
well, comedy in English or in French, performed by Anglophones, is a big hit in Paris. Our reporters have been finding out why.
Every time I'm on a flight, right before the plane takes off, I like to set my fitness out to run.
Plenty to drink means plenty of laughs in this underground comedy club. It lay empty for months because of the coronavirus, and only recently have artists from across the English Channel started to trickle back.
Here we are, we're back, and then until another variant comes, and then we'll all be locked down again.
Glenn Wool is a Canadian comedian based in London. He's appeared on panel shows and festivals in the UK, but for him, performing here is special.
It's an opportunity to come to Paris. Everybody all over the world, you get offered, you come. You're from England? All right, yeah, that's really abroad now.
Tonight, the public mostly belongs to France's British community, which is some 140,000 strong.
I love British humour. Out of 10, I'd rate it as 10 out of 10 of all the humours of everywhere, and it's really nice to have this in Paris.
There are some comedians who are more international than others, and tonight I think on the whole everyone could understand everything.
Just 1 in 10 audience members were French, according to the night's organiser.
There's only certain performers who would be attractive towards a French audience. Some of the performers we have, they have strong regional accents. And I know they won't understand a Belfast accent or a Newcastle accent.
For some, it's not just a question of language, but of culture.
Well, I'm just saying, a difference between the French and the English comedians. English comedians are funny. The French comedians, you've got Jamel, he's funny. Who else have you got that's funny?
Over at the Apollo Theatre, they've bought into Anglophone humour as well.
English and American comedians want to perform in Paris. It's an unmissable location. There's demand and it's a success. All we need now is Paul Taylor.
Paul Taylor may be the biggest name English-language comedian in France, but comedy enthusiasts can come and enjoy the likes of Michael Odewale and Troy Hawke at the Apollo on the 5th of November for a special lineup in partnership with the Comedy Store in London.
There you go, you're in demand.
Yeah, that's weird. Like, I have no idea that any of this stuff was going on. I started doing comedy in France in English thanks to a guy called Sebastian Marx, who's still doing English comedy. He's got his comedy night, and he was the kind of the pioneer for stand-up in France for people not necessarily expats. Like Carol Beer's been doing it for decades, but bringing British comedians over. But for it's his is more like the British expat crowd. Seb started more like having French people come and understanding. It's great. Yeah, I think it's really cool.
And do you really think French and British humour is so different?
It's I get this question all the time, and I don't know what the answer is. I think that yes and no, in the sense that no, because laughter is just a human thing. Everyone laughs. It's like crying. Everyone cries. Everyone laughs. It's a normal human emotion. But what we laugh at is sometimes different. In England, I think we're a very I've forgotten the English word, but autodérisoire. Self-deprecating. So we like putting ourselves down because that's kind of what makes everyone laugh. Like awkward humour is our thing in the UK. TV shows, the more awkward it is, the more funny we find it. And in France, there's a lot of political humour, which we don't necessarily have a lot of in the UK. And it's very, it's just different styles of humour.
So just before we go, we're out of time, but we always end with our guests' cultural pick of the moment. What have you chosen for us?
My cultural pick is the morning show on Apple TV Plus. I think that's what it's called, Apple TV Plus. I don't know what it's called. But yeah, the morning show, I love it. It's kind of like this. But it's a great news programme, and it's great to see, for me, Jennifer Aniston in a non-comedy role. It's great. I love it.
Okay, Paul Tate, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us. We're going to leave you with The Morning Show. Your show, So British ou Presque, is on in Paris at the Grand Rex on the 19th and 20th of October. Then you're touring France. Then you're going to the UK in January. Remember our website. We're also on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.
Changed in a minute. The whole world changed. I thought we were a team.
Honestly, Bradley, a friendship with you seems like a bountiful journey.
If I can.
You talked to Mitch. Did he tell you that?
People deserve to know the truth.
Nobody likes the gossip.
There's been a lot written about The Morning Show and a lust for ratings that made even the worst behavior permissible. Do you feel that the important issues have been addressed?
It's up to you.